So probably what I would say is the most well-known fucking Twitter combo imaginable that this character has. The most untrue horseshit that I get asked every day if it's true or not, or we get someone that says, hey guys, I found this out, is Nair1, DB1, Nair1, DB1, the whatever. This shit right here. This is not true. Like, under any regards. This kind of string, DB Nair1, baby. Like that, this is not true. You are minus on hit here. When you go from, so Nair1 to DB is true. If you try to do anything other than like DB2, like if you do this, like that's one thing, right? That's one thing entirely. But if you're gonna do like Nair1 into DB1 into like up air, right? You're minus on hit. Like if you're gonna try and do that, or you're gonna try and go for another Nair or a Dare or a Fair or whatever, you're minus on hit. Let me switch to control just to show this. So, that's Shield Breaker. There, Frost, come on. There we go. So, I am holding shield. Okay, I am holding shield and like buttons. I'm basically just hoping to God that I can do something in my end Lagus Marth. And then I get hit. Nothing will happen. You are stuck in end lag. You are gonna get hit by almost anyone that's like not just sitting there with your controller down. This shit does not work. Do not do it unless you know your opponent's gonna just let you do it. There is no reason to really like go for this. What you can do instead is actual true combos. Okay, cool. So there's a variety of things you can do with Nair1 into other options that aren't DB, right? So there's like Nair1 up tilt, there's Nair1 F tilt, there's Nair1 jab, there's Nair1 dancing blade. You know, lower percents you're probably gonna do up mainly. But I think the big thing that just kind of needs to be talked about in general that you can actually do instead of something like Nair1 to DB1 is Nair1 fsmash. That was a tipper. Good job, Frost. You can do that instead. Now, I don't know about you. I don't know about you. I personally prefer a true kill confirm that you get from the same option. That just requires a little bit of practice and understanding of how the move works. And they're dead at pretty much anywhere on stage at 60 from a move that is -5 on shield. I prefer that personally. You know, again, that's up to you if you would rather look cool and get hit. I think it's a lot better if you do this instead, myself. So let's talk about how this works. So there's there's a few things you need to understand about Nair1 as a combo tool. So the first thing is Sour Nair1 is usually going to be a lot better for you at earlier percent, and Tipper Nair1 is going to usually be better at higher percent. The reason being is that Sour Nair1 sends not only up but away, which means once we get to around like 130, right? The opponent's going to get hit high enough to where they could potentially Z-axis past whatever swing we're doing, right? So like right there, right? Lucina's leg was there, the hitbox was there, but if we were to pause and turn the camera around, you can't because it's training mode. Her leg is so far in the Z-axis it doesn't get hit by the F-smash. At tipper range, however, same thing at around 130 still, but maybe at 120. Wow, same thing. Come on, Frost, you got this. There we go. Whereas here, it's going to be the same thing, where there's still going to be the z-axis problem with sour, right? But with tipper, you're going to actually be able to land it. So it works better at higher percent if you tipper and lower percent if you sour. The other thing you need to understand is when you're doing Nair1 fsmash, your drift from when you land Nair1 matters a lot. So if you are going to be drifting in on your opponent at 60 and you're going to be expecting tipper to work, you're just not really going to get it. You can sometimes land it if you get to point blank and you stutter step forward. But even then, it's like, it's not going to be that common. So drifting in is not going to work. Drifting back will work at earlier percents because it sets you even further back away, which lets you to actually tipper it even earlier. Right? So if I drift out, that makes it even easier. You can still whiff it if you drift out too far, but in general, something like drifting back is going to be a lot easier for you. And even if you're going to be drifting in, as long as you kind of stop yourself and back in the air by the time you land, you can still get it. You just have to know to drift back a little bit before you land, which can make your options predictable, but at the same time, you're doing that and then you can go for a tomahawk right after, right? So you're not screwing yourself over for this, you're just making sure you're doing the right drift at earlier percent to make sure you land it. The drift becomes less and less needed the higher percent you get. At 90, you don't need to really drift back anymore. You can still do it, but you can start kind of drifting in just a little bit and it'll work. Won't work if you're fully drifting in yet, but it'll work if you just do it a little bit. You know, some z-axis problems are going to start probably showing up around here too, which I'll get into that in a second, how you want to deal with the z-axis potentially being an issue. Tipper's still not really going to work if you're drifting in. For tipper, you mainly want to be straight. You don't want to have like any drift with tipper usually. Or if you do, you want very slight drift back. And then once you get to around 100, you start having the z-axis issues, but I think drifting back is going to be harmful, actually. In a good amount of cases, like here, that's just going to not really work out very well for you. Yeah, I mean, it can work with you if you tipper it, but in general, you're not going to want to drift out once you reach this, you know, around 100 and higher. But like you saw, there were moments where the z-axis becomes a problem, right? The z-axis makes it so f-smash isn't always going to hit. And that's usually, I would say against most characters, it's going to be at 120, right? Sorry, 120. Maybe against like Bowser, it could be 130. Maybe Bowser. But in general, 120 is when you want to be doing not Nair1 f-smash, but Nair1 f-tilt. And it pretty much follows the same logic of, you know, you can drift out a little bit, but normally no drift's going to be fine. Drifting into bit's going to be okay, just don't tipper it. Even if you do tipper it, as long as you don't have crazy drift, you're probably fine. And this deals with the z-axis way better. F-tilt deals with it way better. I think it even works until it just flat out misses. I don't think it really, because it goes way higher than F-smash. Even once they start going into tumble animations, it's still working just fine. So I'd recommend doing this instead, because this is effective. They're dead. Not, let me hit a cool Twitter combo real quick. You do have to worry about swinging too quickly, or if you didn't land with it, you know, very quickly, like you kind of did it in the air a good amount before, that it could sour. There's also, if you swing too quickly, like you just buff for F-tilt right away, it can sometimes sour. Maybe not at 140. So in general, I would say this is going to be a lot better off for you if you do this. Now that's not going to kill with someone with good DI, but that does lead to a good ledge trap situation, you know, or not ledge trap situation, edge guard situation, that you can follow up on really easy if it doesn't kill, or if you're at like mid stage. And then if you get sour, then you get a ledge trap situation, which makes it also still easy to follow up on, and they're at 100%, so if they choose the wrong option, they're dead. You know, even against sours, right? Maybe not sour down smash quite yet, but the rest are going to kill pretty easily. So the higher the percent they are, the more leeway you have to perform these two, and the more it's usually going to be the most effective option you have out of any of the other, you know, like combo strings or fake things you can do. Or in other cases where you could probably do Nair1 up tilt, that's not going to kill until like 130. And what's easier usually is just going for fsmash or f-tilting, because this isn't going to kill at all, and leads into like an okay juggle situation at 100. So I mean, not terrible, right? Like that's not bad. I personally value that more, right? The other thing that I think is worth mentioning is if you're still worried about the z-axis, doing Nair1 and up smash at around 110, right? Regardless of drift, for the most part, you can drift out and you're fine. You can tipper it and you're fine. You can drift in and you're good. You can have no drift and you're fine. You can drift in with tippers and you're fine. That one's kind of probably gonna be the hardest to do. See, even there you're fine. And that's just gonna kill pretty much regardless of position and on stage. Those are all good options that you can do. And that doesn't require you understanding the z-axis at all. This doesn't require very good understanding of your spacing, but it's at a much higher percent. And you just need to be able to time your dash and up smash well, very quickly. If you do get the tipper, just understand that you have to input it later, your dash, otherwise it will not actually get buffered or anything due to the increased hit lag that tippers have, which can sometimes mess you up, but I think it's going to be pretty easy to know that when you're drifting back, for example, okay, that's going to be a tipper, right? Because Nair1's a very easy move to understand its range for. So you can preemptively understand, okay, that was a tipper, that's a sour, you know, so you know when you need to input what. Overall, these are much simpler to do than whatever flashy dumb shit you can come up with doing this. That's not ever going to work against anyone that knows what they're doing. So I'd recommend doing that instead.